Hey, I'm Alexander, Greek astrologer and intuitive. Welcome to this video on the new moon in Virgo happening August 23rd, 2025. This is not a normal new moon in Virgo. I think there's a lot going on with it for a few reasons. First of all, this is the first of two new moons in Virgo. The next one is actually a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse in Virgo happening September 21st. And also, this new moon is directly square Uranus. Uranus is in astrology is a planet of revolution and freedom and authenticity. It is right. It is in the sign of Gemini right now. So we may feel more motivated to seek freedom or experiences that grant us freer movement and more authentic expression under this new moon. This new moon comes with a jolt. An aspect to Uranus, especially a square aspect. A square aspect is a extremely dynamic in your face energy, but it is not necessarily comfortable. So this energy kind of feels a little bit like sticking a fork in an electric socket. And so this is a dynamic and loud energy, very kind of in our face. Also, this may also feel a little eclipse-like, considering that this new moon is in the same sign as the eclipses will be in September. So it just feels a little bit more dramatic or loud than a regular Virgo new moon. We're going to talk more about this in just a moment. I just kind of want to go over a couple business items really quick. So my summer sale is going to be continuing for a couple more weeks, I think till the end of summer, and then I'll raise prices again. But that is going to be, that is continuing on my spirit readings. So essentially psychic medium sessions with me. If you need a little bit more clarity, if you want to connect to your spirit guides and just kind of ask about how life is going and all the things that you would do in a spirit check-in reading or in a psychic medium reading, those rates are still discounted. I'm going to leave them discounted until summer actually ends. Lastly, I'm going to begin teaching psychic development classes in September or October. I'm not really sure when that is happening, but if you are interested in learning to channel, to connect with your spirit guides, to read energy, to learn the basics of conducting a spirit reading or psychic reading without using tarot or external tools, please join my email newsletter. I send it out about twice a month with the new moon and the full moon. You will get first access to that information in that newsletter. Link will be in the show notes or in the comments on YouTube. These classes will be completely online. They will be recorded. We'll be on Zoom. So more information coming later. I just wanted to leave that in there for people who were interested. And also, if you did want to book a reading or an astrology session with me, including those summer spirit sale that I talked about, my website is dogstarOracle.com. I don't know why I'm out of breath right now. So that's crazy. Okay, so I will leave my website in the show notes and on the comments on YouTube. So now let's go get back to talking about the energy of this new moon. Okay, so like I mentioned, this new moon is in the sign of Virgo. So just looking at the new moon being in Virgo, Virgo is about getting things in order. Virgo is connected to the order and rhythm of our lives. Virgo is an earth sign. It is concerned with physical, with practical, with material things. And Virgo tends to be about how we tend to ourselves, our loved ones, and our surroundings. So things got, themes connected just tidying up, organizing, getting into a new routine or a new structure is inherently going to be a part of this new moon in Virgo, even though this new moon has a more kind of radical energy or quality to it. Virgo has an inherent drive to continually improve, and especially when we put Virgo with the moon, the moon is about nurturing and tending to things in our daily lives. So because this new moon is always a new beginning, a new cycle of living, there is this inherent drive with this new moon to improve our systems of living and things connected to daily routines and health. So we may be tending more to our physical body, to our mental and emotional health under this new moon. It's a good time to sort of you just may find yourself kind of decluttering, organizing a little bit, whether that is actual physical things or just kind of looking at stuff in your life this new moon will tend to be about like just kind of decluttering and getting things clearer in your day-to-day kind of surroundings. And again, that's going to really kind of depend on like where Virgo would be in your chart. So we will be talking about a horoscope for each sign in the second half of this video. Additionally, I think Virgo is a bit underrated or misunderstood, because I think that there's a lot of really magical elements to Virgo as well. Virgo is kind of like this earth magic goddess energy. So this new moon in Virgo may re-emphasize a connection to things like using herbs, either for health reasons or for magical reasons, working with flower essences. This is like a really good time to kind of reinvest in your magical practice, like tending to your altars, and just sort of tending to like, so this might be a good time to actually connect to some magical practices, work on your manifestation or whatever it is. I do feel like bringing in plants, bringing in, plant allies and herbs and things connected to like candles and like magic and like little kind of like humble, like magical practices. If you're interested in starting that, if you're interested in working with it, but have never done it before, give it a shot. You don't even really know, you don't need to know how to do it or how to do it perfectly or be this like perfect, TikTok witchcraft aesthetic. My altars are very basic. They need to be cleaned up. And, but even like the most humble of altars or magical practice can yield some results. So emphasis on physical health, on mental and emotional health, decluttering, organizing, improving our systems of living, and also connection to earth magic is very much a part of this new moon. Now, like I mentioned, this new moon is square Uranus. So let me go ahead and bring up this chart here. Okay, so let me move this back a little bit. So this new moon is going to be right at the beginning of Virgo at about 0 degrees. Let's see, I think it's like 0 degrees and 22 minutes of Virgo. So that new moon is right up here. And so this new moon is right, we can kind of see it right at the bottom of the chart. A new moon always happens when the sun and moon are conjunct. And this is going to be making that really dynamic square aspect to Uranus and Gemini that I mentioned earlier. Really tight orb, almost exact at that new moon. And it's really those aspects that are really, really tight that really kind of matter the most. So this new moon may bring some, because this is a square to Uranus, it may bring some unexpected events or just things that can be like unanticipated, right? So Virgo is a mutable sign. Mutable signs like Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces tend to be more adaptable. They tend to kind of more go with the flow or kind of adapt to ever-changing circumstances. So this new moon feels very busy. It feels like we are busily sort of adapting to these sort of ever-changing circumstances. This is also this square to Uranus. We may feel a need to break with convention, to embrace our wild instincts and genius ideas. We might be feeling impatient or restless. Between Virgo being a sign ruled by Mercury and also Gemini being a sign ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and messages, this is very mental energy. So even though Virgo tends to be a more practical, grounded sign, there is some neurotic, ungrounded energy to this new moon. So I want you to remember to breathe and to consciously ground your energy around the time of this new moon. This new moon is happening, by the way, really early in the morning, August 23rd. So like that would be like, midnight, like around 12:30 a.m. Denver time, Saturday the 23rd. And around this time, we could just feel like this sort of heightened, restless mental energy around this time. Or we could, sometimes this energy, I have noticed for me personally, can result in a little bit of heightened sort of nervous tension or anxiety, right? Just because we have, Virgo tends to be a more kind of neurotic sign, and a square to Uranus does not help matters in this department. It is possible that you could feel energies of just kind of like kind of being on the fritz a little bit, your mind kind of moving in a million different directions. And, just sort of like energy moving so fast that you don't really get much done and you kind of spin your wheels a bit. So you're going to want to kind of consider, I would think, breathing practices, grounding your energy, and consider like only the most important thing. Like keep your to-do list like not a mile long. The moon in Virgo might want to have you be like, I need to get a million things done and I'm going to do it all different because this is connected to Uranus. And I would say keep your to-do list clear, keep it to maybe a few items and go from there. And also if your immediate surroundings in your space are messy, this is a really good energy to like a new moon, or especially like the time before a new moon can often be about clearing things away and finishing things up, letting things go. We tend to put a letting things go energy with the full moon, but really with the new moon is a time of kind of slowing down and refreshing. So it's sort of like to have this kind of new beginning energy coming in with this new moon. It's going to require that maybe you just pick up your space a little bit. Like I had to do this today where I was like, I could not get my head clear. I was like, I need to do this video. And I ended up spending like 2 hours cleaning my apartment before we even started. And then it was like, I could breathe and think again. And I'm going to suggest some of this energy to you under this new moon. Also, make sure that you get some movement of your physical body because brain may be working on overdrive during this new moon. So getting some movement, getting some brisk walking if you can, or a workout or something like that will help to clear your mind. So kind of going back to this Uranus energy, this new moon really brings in some revolutionary energy. So this is not just a decluttering, organizing new moon. This is that plus, hey, let's, this system of living that we've always done for a long time, it feels ripe for some kind of major change. Let's just do it. Change is in the air under this new moon. It might be changing something part of your routine. It may not be connected to your routine at all. It's going to maybe be connected to the house or part of your chart that contains Virgo and or Gemini, where Uranus is. And I'll do a reading for each of the signs. So just consider genius ideas or ideas that feel unconventional, original, or just kind of brings in this like, why have I been living life this way? I'm going to try something kind of radical and different. And that is going to be connected to the Gemini and Virgo parts of your chart, especially around 0 to 1 degrees, or I would say probably 28 degrees of the fixed signs. So 28 Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, to 3 degrees of the mutable signs. So Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. Those placements in your chart are going to be feeling this energy the most. So I do want to mention this quincunx. So there are some things there's an aspect in astrology called either aversions or quincunxes. An aversion is the traditional terminology. In modern astrology, it is called a quincunx. It is when a planet like cannot see because actually I don't really quite know how to describe it, but essentially it's making this complete non-aspect to Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. And a quincunx or an aversion is sort of like when a planet cannot see these other planets at all. Even though like this is 0 degrees Virgo, Saturn is at 0 Aries, Pluto is at 1 Aquarius, Neptune is at 1 Aries. It's suggesting that like it just cannot see or have a relationship with these planets, thus making this, thus kind of creating some sort of awkward energy and awkward tension. I don't really work with the quincunx or the aversion that much. I did wanted to bring it up just because this is such a quirky feeling new moon, kind of an erratic new moon, a new moon of like really grabbing change on this fundamental level and just saying, fuck it, let's do it. The fact that it is averse or quincunx to Saturn, the planet of structure, of order, Saturn right now being in this sort of pioneering sign of Aries, suggesting that like we are sort of implementing these sort of new structures in our lives, or structures in the world are kind of falling away right now. The fact that it's sort of not aspecting your Saturn at all, it just kind of feels like this new moon is sort of outside of normal time. Like, I just feel like this new moon is going to feel a little bit weird, or maybe just a little ungrounding is kind of how I want to put it. So I really feel like, getting your feet on some grass, breathing fresh air, or getting some sunlight, I think will go a long way into helping to sort of integrate this new moon energy. Because I just feel like this is going to feel a little bit quirky, a little bit off. Additionally, now this is a subject that I don't know a whole lot about, but this new moon is conjunct the fixed star Regulus. Just a quick explanation on fixed stars. The ancients called the planets wandering stars because the stars, would move every day, like those stars. But the stars that sort of were stationary in the sky, like actual stars, were referred to as fixed stars. Regulus is a very prominent star. I believe Donald Trump has this star conjunct his ascendant. And this is a star that tends to be about like leadership, bravery. People who have this star very kind of closely conjunct their chart. It's sort of like there are themes of authority, success, the ability to command. And the themes associated with this star would be Mars and Jupiter, kind of giving this, kind of lending this energy of bravery, of courage. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is brave or courageous, but he does seem to have a lot of charisma and people do listen to him, which is really annoying. And I also think that his ascendant conjunct fixed star Regulus is part of the reason he's been so hard to bring down. But this new moon conjunct fixed star Regulus seems to add this more auspicious energy to this new moon of like, kind of feels like this new moon in Virgo normally being this sort of humble sign, is a little bit like grabbing life by the balls, of like just going for it, of infusing this energy of success, of power, of accessing your own courage and your own bravery to just start something new or initiate something new, or maybe to initiate this change that is so ripe under this new moon energy. And again, consider the fact that, yes, this is the first of 2 new moons in Virgo. We're going to have a solar eclipse. So this is a preview of eclipse season coming in as well. Because when we get into eclipse season officially on September 7th with the lunar eclipse in Pisces, eclipses are about these more significant beginnings and endings that are sort of gradually unfolding in our lives. And eclipses can also be interruptions to like our daily rhythm and flow, really kind of supercharged new and full moons that really can sort of alter the normal kind of flow of our lives. So we are going to be seeing heightened activity in our Virgo and Pisces houses in our chart. So this new moon in Virgo may be the beginning of like some newer energies coming into this part of your chart. So especially if you have those early degrees of the mutable signs, 0 through 3 right now, or really any planets in Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, especially early degrees right now, you're going to really be feeling that jolt from this new moon. Lastly, the thing I'm going to talk about before we get to horoscopes for each sign is the fact that this new moon is ruled by Mercury. So we want to kind of take a peek at what little Miss Mercury is doing. The only thing I really have to say about Mercury in Leo is the fact that it is moving out of its shadow phase, because it went retrograde initially in I think was it at the beginning of this month that it went retrograde? Whatever. I can't remember. I think it was like the end of July, maybe August when it went retrograde. I can't really remember. But it went retrograde initially around 15 degrees of Leo. So, it went backwards and then it went forwards again. And we're almost out of the shadow phase, meaning that Mercury is going into a new part of the zodiac. So we're ready for something new. We're ready for like a new chapter. We're ready for things connected to your Leo house. My Leo house is 10th house. That is career. So, there may be exploring new things connected to career for me personally. But just kind of know that Mercury is ready to do something new, go on new adventures. It's almost like reviewing everything connected to the retrograde, and literally the day after, 2 days after that new moon, it's going to be out of that shadow phase territory. So it's really about new with this new moon. So let us talk about what is going on for each of the signs. I recommend that you listen for your rising sign if you have not watched my channel before. Rising sign, and then if you want, you can definitely blend it with your sun or your moon, but rising sign first if you have an accurate birth time. If you do not have an accurate birth time, but know that you're born during the day, I'd maybe look at your sun. If you know that you're born at night, I would say listen to your moon, but try to listen to the rising sign. So we're going to start with Aries, go all the way through Pisces. And at this point, you can definitely just click the timestamp in the show notes. If you're listening to the audio version, if you are watching on YouTube, you can simply click the chapters of the sign and it will take you right there. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, hi Aries rising. So let's start with you. So the new moon in Virgo is in your 6th house. 6th house is considered to be sort of like our daily grind. So things connected to sort of work and health matters, sort of daily routine kind of stuff. It may be about like, hey, I really want to go in a different direction, taking care of my health, or it could also have something to do with work. It could be like an external change at work. It could be a change that you are wanting to do at work. You may want to work in a different way. There may be changes connected to like coworkers or employees or something connected to that. This new moon is square Uranus in your 3rd house. 3rd house is another house like the 6th house. It is a cadent house. There are different, like there are angular houses, succedent houses, and cadent houses. And 3rd and 6th have an interesting relationship because they are square to each other. So, because this is a cadent house, it's sort of connected to like, they may not be the most exciting topics, essentially, because 3rd house deals with like communication matters, transportation, travel, but not like long distance travel, more like kind of routine day-to-day travel. Things connected to people connected to our immediate environment, neighbors. This is kind of this really highlights daily routine, daily rhythm stuff, because 3rd house has to do with daily routine as well. So this is suggesting that you may want a fresh change of scenery in your daily routines, maybe how you get from point A to point B. It's like, I just would not be surprised if you're kind of bored, or feel like you sort of need a change in your sort of daily routine, daily rhythm, or there's some kind of interruption to that. So yeah, that's kind of what I get for you. I would say embrace change, or bring a change of scenery or a breath of fresh air into how you take care of yourself, how you work, your workplace, and into your daily routines and communications. Taurus rising. This new moon for you is in the 5th house. Definitely. Okay. So 5th house is creativity, your passions, your hobbies, things connected to children, sexual energy, and romance. So this is suggesting like we're maybe wanting something new connected to that. This is a time to like declutter your studio if you have like an art studio, or to like, I would say like nurture or tend to things that like make life worth living, that make life fun. It could be like a new beginning connected to a child or children. There could be something also like, and I'm going to say because of the emphasis of Uranus here, this could be like, I'm ready to like try something new in my dating life, or do some sort of new art style or a new way of playing or something, or like, or if you've been sort of working just too much, it's like, I want to do something radically different with like my free time, right? There is something though financial maybe connected to this new moon as well. Because Uranus squares the new moon from your 2nd house of money. It's maybe how you spend your money on recreation, or perhaps that we're going to be making money from our creative projects, but there is some kind of dramatic dynamic tension between these two houses. So that's what we have for you. So definitely some activations connected to romance, pleasure, hobbies, recreation. And again, keep in mind that part of your house, that part of your chart is going to be extra active over the next, 30 days or so because of the upcoming eclipse in this part of your chart next month. Gemini rising. Okay, this one's gonna be interesting. The Gemini rising, this is an angular new moon. When we have a lunation on the angles, um, in your fourth house specifically, but like the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th are all angular. They're really loud energies, really foundational energies. The fourth house is home and family. It's your foundation. It can be about like inner psychological stuff. It's connection to roots and family, real estate, where we live, our living situation, where we're from. So there's something new connected to home in living situation or connected to family. Maybe there's a new beginning connected to your parents, your elders, where there's something planted here around like, hey, I might want to move soon, or something this is coming up in my living situation. Perhaps it's like, I want to radically paint the wall. I'm sick of this beige. I'm painting the walls pink. I want some excitement in my home, because Uranus is in your first house of self-expression, of physical body, of your essence and energy. So Uranus may be sort of encouraging you to express yourself a little bit more boldly, uniquely, or changes that make perfect sense to you because you're feeling a little restless and like you're wanting a little change. But to other people, it might be like a little shocking. That's certainly part of this energy. But I just feel like you're going to really feel this new moon energy a little bit more strongly, just because you are a mutable sign. So like I said, this new moon, it's a decluttering, organizing new moon for you. Getting home cleaned up, healing and nurturing connected to the home. But there is this feeling of like doing it in a completely different way, or perhaps even dealing with some sort of interruptions or something connected to the home and family. Or perhaps, you sort of wanting to express yourself a little bit more uniquely and really kind of tuning into that part of yourself, maybe causes tension like within like the home or the family or something connected to that. But like I mentioned as well, you're getting eclipses in this next month connected to career and also connected to home. So this is kind of the beginning of this eclipse energy coming in for you. Cancer rising. New moon is in your third house. It is squaring Uranus in your 12th house. How do I even begin? Okay. New moon is in the third house. This could be the new moon is connected to our daily routine. So, the third house is connected to our daily routine. The third house is actually where the moon rejoices, because this house is really connected to the goddess. So there are some underlying kind of magical energies for you to take advantage of in these new moons. Because while, yes, there are some very mundane or routine feeling, meaning, and significations that do apply to you connected to this new moon, because third house tends to be daily, like our day-to-day routines, our daily coffee shop visit, our emails and text messages and conversations, because third house is correspondence. This also could be taking a new class, learning something new, taking on a new certification. It could be something new connected to a car or a vehicle, or how you maybe would get around during getting from point A to point B. It could also have to do a lot with like travel and stuff too. So there's a feeling of getting a change of scenery, something new, or some sort of sudden new thing or sudden change connected to those things. Perhaps it is a communication or correspondence that is somewhat shocking to you, or you feel like just kind of taking having a sort of more bolder than usual conversation than you are like likely to have, right? But going back to this thing about the moon rejoicing in the third house, this might actually be a really good time for you personally, Cancer rising, to like invest in that earth magic thing that I was talking about. The third house is connected to, so ninth house is the house of God. Third house is the house of the goddess. So having a new moon here, this would be a really good time to journal, to pull a tarot card, to have a conversation with your spirit team, to sort of connect to that pure intuition, that sort of gut level feeling and gut level knowing. This would be a time that I would say refresh your altar, refresh about how, or to initiate or begin some kind of magical kind of intuitive practice, where we're sort of communing with with our intuition or the goddess, quote unquote, in some way. So definitely some major kind of goddess energy here, especially because as Cancer rising, you're ruled by the moon. The movements and rhythms of the moon are extremely important to you. So this would be time to, I think, definitely tune in and to work with your plant and magic allies under this new moon. With the influence of Uranus coming from your 12th house, this could be a time maybe when like your subconscious thoughts might rise to the surface a little bit more. Or I'm just going to say maybe that there's some, like, it just really feels like a break from the routine, an interruption to your routine, or embracing some kind of radical change within your kind of daily routines and communications here. That's kind of really all I got for Uranus being in that 12th house. So, okay, let's look at Leo. Leo rising, the new moon is in your second house of money. This would be a good time for you to declutter, to deorganize, to look at your spending, to maybe sort your spending into different categories, to be looking at like, hey, do we really need to be spending things on that? Because second house has to do with your money, your assets, your spending. This would be a good time to kind of look at your subscriptions that you're paying for and like, why are you paying for Netflix and never use it? Like that kind of thing. Or even to declutter and to organize your stuff, because your second house can be your possessions and your stuff, your physical items. This new moon is going to be square. This could also be, by the way, a new opportunity or initiating something new as far as making money or some kind of money-making venture, some sort of source of income. That could be like out of the ordinary, embracing something sort of new and different. This could also be perhaps a expense that we didn't see coming, as well, or kind of having to spend on something maybe connected to friends or groups that we are a part of. Perhaps there's a money-making venture connected to a group or formal organization that you're part of, because we have Uranus and Gemini in your 11th house of groups, of clubs and organizations, of our fans and our following as well, if that applies to you. So there's something kind of interesting going on here. I definitely feel like the theme around money for you, either the decluttering, the organizing, or also an interesting money-making endeavor, or perhaps something maybe that we don't necessarily see coming as far as spending. So just kind of keep your eye on that new moon for that. Virgo rising. This is your personal new beginning, new moon, and you get two of them. You really a focal point and very much the star of the cosmos, along with Pisces over the next several weeks. So something I want to point out to you is that you have the South Node in Virgo moving through your first house. So there may be an emphasis on clearing out, on letting go of things, on detoxifying, things connected to your personal life, your physical body, your identity, kind of like letting go of what we no longer, what no longer kind of fits in our reality anymore. Because with the South Node, we're kind of releasing and letting go of things. So there is been that theme since the beginning of this year, and it's going to get more intense as we approach these eclipses. So with this new moon in your sign, this new beginning, this new lunar cycle, we want to think about embracing, letting go what isn't us anymore, and kind of calling our energy back, right? Like, this is a good time to start new, like you just may feel like it's some sort of cosmic new chapter for you. And also like, this is a time to like declutter and organize your life, whether that is relationships, like, hey, I kind of feel like I've outgrown this friendship. So maybe it's time I deal with that, or just your physical stuff, your physical items like in your life. This is a personal new beginning for you, but there is this theme of like maybe letting go of like what isn't serving you anymore. A new moon in your first house, the first house can have to do with your physical body, your self-expression, how you really like kind of like the style in which you go about kind of living your life, as well as your physical body in essence. So it might be a good time to start like a new health routine. Or you might finding yourself like, I kind of want to get rid of these clothes that no longer kind of represents who I am and kind of embrace like a little bit more of a different look. And embracing the difference, or embracing the new and ingenuity, and embracing the strange and unusual is certainly a part of this new moon energy for you, because this new moon is square Uranus in your 10th house. So there is this kind of radical feeling to this new moon of just like, I'm going to be who I am. I don't really give a fuck what anyone thinks about it. And there may be something new or something unusual connected to career for you. There could be something about maybe embracing a new career path, or experiencing some sudden changes in the workplace, or with your career, or with authority figures that you would be connected to as well. It also could be about like how you are. The 10th house is your public reputation, how you are known to the world, your sort of role in the world. So this could be connected to like, who am I in the world anymore? Like, I want to be known for something different. Change is very much in the air for you in general. So, I would say radical, new, different, letting go of the old, possible kind of changes kind of bubbling for you in career as well. That is a reading for you, Virgo rising. Let's get to Libra rising now. Okay, Libra rising, new moon for you is in the 12th house. I would say this is normally a 12th house lunation can be quieter. The 12th house has to do with like rest and isolation, mental and emotional health themes, spiritual health themes, that kind of stuff. So this new moon may call you to whether it's like pulling a tarot card in the quiet of your bedroom with like a single candle, maybe getting out into nature. Virgo is an earth sign. This is kind of wanting to connect us to outside, to fresh air, to plants, to that kind of thing. It also may be about like, this could also call us to like kind of cleaning up maybe mental health kinds of things, to getting more rest. A new moon is a quieter time. Like, I mean, even though this new moon is connected to Uranus, so there's like this like kind of frenetic kind of energy to this new moon. A new moon, generally speaking, like the moon's energy is really, really dim, and then it grows in energy until we get to this full moon. So something about like new rhythms, new routines connected to rest, to getting some healing, to themes of having a little bit more alone time, I think could kind of factor into this new moon for you, or even cleaning up things connected to mental health. It's like, this might be a time to like take a break from technology or social media, just because this Virgo energy is decluttering, is deorganizing. 12th house is like, okay, like what 12th house can often be like, what are the things in life that are draining my psychic and spiritual energy? Can be very much 12th house energy, because 12th house can be about like, where do I get in my own way? Or other things that can kind of sabotage me. And that can be scrolling, on your phone, or connecting to like toxic kind of energies like online. So maybe consider that. This new moon is squaring Uranus in the 9th house. Part of Uranus and Gemini, going in through your 9th house. And again, we don't really know the full extent of Uranus and Gemini yet, considering it's just right at the beginning of Gemini. But Uranus and Gemini is really going to challenge your beliefs, or you are going to challenge the beliefs of others. This is about maybe embracing some long distance travel, getting into different kind of radical mythologies, or not mythologies, but like philosophy and belief systems, and really kind of challenging how you think about the world. So this feels like a very kind of philosophical, or like, I don't really know how to bring these together. I'm going to be honest. Hold on one second. I think for a few of you, this could be about some sort of sudden experience or interruption to anything with like long distance travel. If you're like traveling overseas or something, 12th house can be extended periods of time overseas. 9th house is also long distance travel. Otherwise, this feels like more of a new moon that kind of maybe challenges your belief systems a little bit. But it does feel more kind of introverted, kind of quiet, even though there's like, again, like a very frenetic kind of energy to it. And also, I just want to point out for you, Libra rising, these eclipses coming in starting in September, they do have a lot to do with your work, your health, and mental health. So there is that kind of focus on like maybe letting go what is toxic for you under this new moon in Virgo. So Scorpio rising. This new moon is in your 11th house. The 11th house has to do with your fans and following, if that applies to you. Otherwise, it has to do with your friends, the groups of people that you kind of count as your own, like-minded people, formal organizations, clubs, groups that you belong to, your colleagues. The 11th house tends to be a house of good fortune as well, too. So like this does feel more like an optimistic kind of new moon just based on that, right? So this may be about, cleaning up, decluttering social media following, or new beginnings connected to, all of these new beginnings connected to like your collaborations, essentially. So this could be about joining a new group. It could be about taking a more active role in a group that you belong to. This does feel like a more social, a busier kind of new moon for you. The 11th house also has to do with your goals, wishes, and hopes for the future. So this is a great new moon to kind of start from scratch and be like, what are my goals? And how can I achieve them in a way that is unconventional? Or because I feel like you're going to be kind of embracing the unconventional connected to your goals here. It may be that this moon partially is about money for you, about how to access capital, or maybe there's a sudden expense or need for money under this new moon, or perhaps we're thinking about going after finances and money in a way that is unconventional and different. It could be money that is belonging to belonging to our clients, or money that's connected to like investments, loans, credit card, taxes, that kind of thing. But I would say spend time thinking about your goals under this new moon. There is, I think, because it is the 11th house, there is a little bit of luck, or I think that there's luck or good fortune to be found in going after your goals in a way that is unconventional for you, essentially, just because it is square Uranus in that 8th house. So Sagittarius, new moon in your 10th house. I think you will feel this full moon probably more than a lot of the other signs. This new moon is in your 10th house. This is connected to career for you, to your public reputation, to authority figures, to work, or a change, or it could be about a significant shift or change in your public reputation and status also. So this feels like something new. Maybe initiating something new, maybe kind of, applying that sort of Virgo diligence, hard work, efficiency, improving systems, decluttering, organizing to your work, to your career, like streamlining how you would sort of get things done, or streamlining your professional goals even. And just know that this house, along with your Pisces house, your 4th house of home and family, are going to be going through some major shifts over this eclipse season in September. And because these are angular houses, you'll tend to just feel these a little bit more than the rest of the signs. So this new moon in Virgo is square Uranus in your 7th house of partnership. There might be more Uranus and Gemini since July, maybe has brought this energy or flavor to your committed partnerships, your formal one-on-one relationships, that maybe that you might be feeling like something unconventional as far as relationships go. Perhaps you've always been monogamous, whatever. You might be like, I'm open to dating more than one person at a time. I don't give a fuck. I'm poly now, or perhaps, it's just sort of brought something dynamic, sudden, new, interesting into your relationships. this is going to connect into maybe your career and your reputation in some way here. Perhaps this new thing, this new energy, this new growth cycle we're feeling in career is connected to these sort of radical new partnerships, these interesting new people that are in our lives. Perhaps this can also be about separating from these relationships as well, because Uranus can bring breakaway and separation kind of energy. So that is possible that you're like, I'm actually going to continue without you. I don't need this partnership anymore. There could be a break in that, or a sudden change connected to partnerships versus career for you under this new moon. Capricorn. Your new moon is in the 9th house. So this is connected to travel, expanding your horizons, your belief system, higher education, spirituality, religion, and sometimes the legal system. So this can be, new things connected to all of that I said. It could be that we are wanting to take some kind of divination course in tarot or astrology, or take some kind of religion or philosophy class, or do something new as far as education and like broadening our mind. This you could be making like sudden travel plans under this new moon. And there is something connected to work and health for you, perhaps under this new moon. It could be, number one, that maybe you are like, I've always wanted to travel to Spain. I'm just going to buy the ticket and do it. I don't give a fuck. Could be something connected to that Uranian energy kind of coming through to this new moon. Or to be like, you know what? I am going to sign up for like a year-long astrology class. Why the hell not? I've always wanted to do it. Let's do it. No one's going to stop me. I feel free. There also could be some sort of change connected to work and health. How you work, what job you're doing, how you do it, coworkers, employees, or how you take care of health could be coming in under this new moon for you. Just because of Uranus's energy in your 6th house of work and health. The 9th and 3rd houses for you are particularly active right now. So anything connected to teaching, to communication, to education, to travel, taking classes, learning new things, correspondences, all very active, because these are going to be part of these eclipse stories for you. So pay attention to these topics that I mentioned. And chances are we might see more developments from these under the lunar and solar eclipses coming up in September. Aquarius, new moon in the 8th house. Excuse me. I swear I felt... I just fully picked my nose on camera, but I was like, I feel like something crawled up in there. Or that was my mustache. I'm not sure. So amazing. The more I go through these signs at the end of it, I'm always a little bit more unhinged. So deal with it. Aquarius rising, you probably don't have an issue with that anyway, because, you're Aquarius. So new moon is in the 8th house. So the 8th house is entanglements. The 8th house is other people's money, cards, investments, loans, matters of mortality and death, and taxes. But also, it is quite literally our emotional entanglements in other people. Because the house before it is relationships. The 8th house is sort of like the energy that we exchange with other people. A lot of that being monetary. So on a mundane level, this is like, I'm going to look at my will. I got to update it. I'm going to look at my investments and loans and money. There's money stuff. This could be a time when you're applying for refinancing or credit or a mortgage or something of that nature. It also could be that we are wanting to kind of invest more in our emotional healing. The 8th house can be like deep trauma. The 8th house is sort of like the 8th house is associated with very extreme experiences in life, because the 8th house is death. We're passing to source. This can be about like just kind of dealing with sort of like inner emotions. The 8th house is also, frankly, a very spooky and psychic place. And the 8th house, because it's sort of hidden from view, it's a dark house. It's sort of hidden from view from the ascendant. It has to do with things that kind of go on in the dark. So occult things, tarot and psychic stuff. And like, this could be a more psychic kind of spooky kind of new moon. So this might be a really good time. Honestly, this might be an interesting energy to work with manifesting or calling in money to you, or to doing any kind of spell work, or, doing these kind of witchy things in your altar that, like you want a specific result. So that could certainly be part of this energy. The other part of that is like simply cleaning up finances. Virgo, decluttering, organizing, 8th house being things that we pay for, subscriptions, finances, all that kind of stuff, kind of cleaning it up. and looking at, am I throwing money away? Am I streamlining this? Let's kind of get organized here. Let's clean up where money stuff is concerned. This new moon is square Uranus. So there is bringing this energy of the unexpected, bringing in, we want more freedom, more authenticity under this new moon, or that we're wanting some kind of change. This could be like, there could be, you might be wanting more stimulation in your love life, in your creative life, because Uranus is in your 5th house of children, of romance, of creative things, of your passions. So there could be something there about like, maybe we're wanting some kind of income source that is maybe connected to our creativity. Maybe there's something sticky, frankly, involving like a child support arrangement or finances connected to a child or to a lover. Something unexpected that can kind of come up during this new moon. But those two topics will be very much at play here. Pisces, this new moon for you is in your 7th house of partnership. So I want you to consider a couple things. Number one, this house. Okay, so first of all, you and your partnerships, I think, probably have been undergoing maybe some more significant changes during this year, or you've been feeling more energy there than is like average, because the North Node in Pisces is suggesting that, you're going through a lot of growth, maybe growth spurts, if you will, kind of embracing some new beginnings, kind of discovering more about who you are this year. And with your relationships, maybe finding out like who isn't necessarily in your highest good to be in your life right now, or maybe that you're discovering some sort of not so healthy, dynamics maybe in your relationships that you're kind of learning about, or that your alliances and partnerships you might find themselves kind of shifting. So, because the nodes are in Virgo and Pisces, and that's where we're going to have the eclipses. This is sort of, I think this new moon is going to be setting up these eclipses coming up in September. September looks like a very active month for you. And this new moon in your 7th house is sort of definitely putting some emphasis on your partnerships, on your relationships, on your alliances. So whether that is romantic, your friendship, like romantic, friendship, business relationships, I find 7th house can often be directly linked to career, because it is our relationship with our employer. It is our relationship with our job as well. So this is a new beginning connected to relationships for you. That decluttering, organizing energy coming in, maybe even just tending to relationships that need a little, it's like watering a plant. It's like, I haven't called this person in a long time. I really want to keep this relationship alive and maintain and get some good energy kind of flowing into this. So I think it's like giving life to relationships that we need, and also making us kind of think about, hey, like, what is maybe relationships that are old, stale, that maybe feel stuck, that we've kind of outgrown because of the presence of Uranus. Uranus really brings some stimulation, some excitement to our relationships, into this new moon in general. And like, you're kind of rolling them, and, do we feel stuck in these partnerships, or are they helping us grow? And that's definitely going to be a theme, I think, connecting to this new moon. Also, there could be something with family. There could be something with home or living situation coming up with this new moon for you as well. Perhaps your roommate, or who you live with too, or people that you live with. Because it's 7th house of partnership, and in the other 4th house of home and family, and who we are living with. So, all those things that I said, it also could just be about like this new moon square Uranus in your 4th house. It could be like maybe we're having to deal with some unexpected changes in the home, living situation, something connected to family that kind of comes out of nowhere. It also could be, again, like our relationships with family kind of feeling like they need an upgrade, or like, are they stale? Are we needed to work through some things there? So it's connecting the 7th house, a partnership, and home and family in some way for you, that I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out, considering it can go in a lot of different directions. But you'll want to kind of consider those two house topics when kind of thinking about what this new moon is bringing in for you. But it's definitely bringing in something connected to partnership, something like what feeds you and what doesn't. And also, where are you going to need more excitement and more freedom in your relationships as well? So that's what we have for this new moon. I hope you have a good new moon, just on time because the sun is setting directly in front of me. So, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to be covered in like just really annoying light really soon. Remember, sign up for my email newsletter if you're interested in those exclusives that I don't do on social media. And also, if you're interested in the psychic development readings, or excuse me, in psychic development classes, if you want to book a reading with me, make sure you visit my website, dogstaroracle.com. Those discount on spirit readings are going to be available through the next month. And hope you have a happy new moon. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. And I will talk to you all soon. Happy new moon in Virgo, guys.